Well, I am going to take you through how I make a decision about where to host an actual event. So if you can't tell, I am in a hotel. I'm not going to mention where I am. I don't really want to dot on them that much. They're renovating it, so it's a little unfair. And I'm not even supposed to be in here, so we snuck in. Anyway, so the thing about hotels is my preference is not to host an event in a hotel. Whenever I can avoid it, I will. Mainly because in most cases, a hotel looks like it could be absolutely anywhere. So this hotel, you have no idea where I am. I could be in Phoenix, Arizona. I could be in Jacksonville, Florida. Doesn't really matter. So my point is, in my personal preference, and this is part of the ethos of the business that I've created, is I'm always looking for a venue that is going to give people kind of like the flavor of the city and really feel like they're getting a local experience. And being in a hotel, you really don't get that. So that's point number one. Point number two is, if you look down a little bit, you'll see that there's carpet on the floor, and this carpet is everywhere. I've spoken about this before. This is a common issue in hotels, that they choose these really busy patterns that are really kind of unfortunate. I call them tragic. And it's very difficult, in particular for corporate brands, to come in with their logo and all of their, PMS colors, and they're basically competing with this flooring. So this is point number two of why I don't particularly like to use a hotel as a venue for an actual event. I understand that they are at common times the choice for a conference or for hosting, your event. If you have like a team meeting of sorts, and you've got 180 to 300 staffers, they're all in the same hotel. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense financially for sure. But I still would argue that it's nice to take your folks off property and then hosting an actual event in the evening that isn't in a hotel barn. So that brings me to point number three. Come with me. Here we go. We're going to go this way. You can see they do have some seating here. So there are definitely advantages to working in a hotel. It comes with a lot of built-in furniture and a lot of built-in staff, which is super helpful. But let's go into the ballroom. Okay, so like I said, they're renovating, if you can't tell, so I don't want you to focus too much on it because there's a lot of stuff on the floor. However, the ceiling is not very high, which is another issue that I would argue you could definitely run into if you're trying to bring in a stage. So it looks like they may have removed the light fixtures, and so those will likely come down even further. And in that case, you're going to have a stage and you're going to have light fixtures that may be hanging down. And I just recently toured a property, and the stage was so high and the chandeliers were so low that even for me at 5 feet tall, the chandelier came to here. And I pointed it out to the folks that were working there, and I said, hey, anybody standing on the stage is going to have a major issue. Those chandeliers are going to be in their face. So that's another thing that you really need to keep in mind when you're looking at properties, and in particular for hotels. So now you've got the hotel carpet and you've got the height of the ceiling that you really need to focus on. Point number three is the food. I'm going to do a whole separate video about this, but the food also, it's so funny how many times I hear people make the comment, oh, well, it was hotel food. Like you kind of give it a hall pass or something, or it's the expectation that it's not going to be very good. I think there are hotels out there that actually serve pretty good food. I think there are catering teams at hotels that are capable of serving like a massive amount of food. And I totally understand when you're serving 1,000 people, it's very difficult to make a dish for everyone. Totally get it. But I still think that the food could be improved in a lot of places. It's often dry, it's often not warm anymore, it's often not seasoned very well, there's not a lot of spice to it, and I get that there are people that don't want some of that, but perhaps you give people options rather than going to the lowest common denominator. So those are my points for one, working in a hotel, and two, really looking for a venue local that's going to give your guests the flavor of that city. Skip the stars, trust the seal.